You face battles most never fought, pain, struggle, adversity. But here, we use that as fuel. This is the Battle Harder podcast, where we motivate, educate, and inspire warriors of life, veterans, survivors, leaders. We share stories and strategies to turn pain into progress. Here's your host, Coach Rob. Let's lock in and battle harder.
Welcome to the Battle Harder podcast, where I hope to motivate, educate, and inspire you to become the best version of yourself. This is, I guess, an impromptu episode. When I do these solo episodes, it's usually because something comes into my mind, my heart, my soul. There's something I want to talk about or share with my community. Not only in an effort for you to get to know more of who Coach Rob is, what I do, what I've been through, but to help you and to know that life is tough. We know that, and things sometimes get hard, and you have to decide in a world of setbacks and failures and negativity, how do we rise above and not give up, right? And that's what this episode is about, is rising above in a time of despair, or in a time of sadness, or in a time of trauma, depression, whatever. And for someone who has mental health issues, and I've made it very clear what I've gone through with PTSD, depression, major depressive disorders, anxiety, social anxiety, it's doubly hard for me to fight over things sometimes and deal with things. I have to fight even harder than someone that doesn't have mental health issues. And I tell you this not because I want your sympathy. I tell you this because me, a normal guy, I am by no means a superhero or superhuman or special. But if me, a normal guy at 48 years old, can decide to do better and be better, then you can too, right? It takes that emotional regulation, it takes that mindset shift, and it takes that discipline over motivation all day long. So, with that being said, I want to give you a story time, right? And I hope that as I speak this and I tell this to you, and if you're listening to this, it doesn't sound like I'm bitching or complaining or ranting or what have you. But I want to paint a picture, okay? Because there's something that happened today that's really bothering me. So as of today, June 3rd, I'm not sure. This episode should be available today, as soon as I'm done recording this, after I edit and everything. But, so I'm going to take you back. And I'm sure I've said similar things in some of my previous stories. In 2018, I was working at the Veteran Affairs Hospital as a police officer. And I was miserable. I was miserable. I felt like the people around me were miserable. I felt like the community I was in was miserable. And as a veteran and as a police officer, with my duty being to be there for the veterans and to protect the people of the hospital, the employees, the patients, the clientele, dealing with the same veterans with mental health issues every day, arresting the same veterans every day, putting hands on the same veterans every day, dealing with, the essential same shit every day, day in and day out for 6 years, working a night shift, it wore on me. Essentially destroyed my first marriage, started to cause problems in my current relationship, and it was no bueno, right? So I decided that I had to leave. And a dream of mine as far back as I can remember was I always wanted to own a gym. See, fitness saved my life. If you've seen any of my past posts, maybe stuff on social media, I used to be 300 pounds, morbidly obese, injuries from my military service that kept me from moving and being healthy and living a healthy, purposeful life, right? And I had to have a wake-up call one day to get out of that mode of being 300 pounds. And the combination of weight training, healthy eating, not emotionally eating, being realistic with my goals, everything from a complete overall approach, because whenever you're trying to be better in fitness or mental health, or the totality of whatever your circumstances is, it's a total approach, right? You can't just do one thing. You have to do a combination of things. And we know that's not easy. It's hard, right? And that's another part of mindset in itself in order to be successful. So after I learned to be physically fit, after I learned to lose some weight, after I decided to get healthy, I decided that I was going to own a strength and conditioning gym. My wife, who has been such a great support system in everything I do, she took out the loans against her own personal credit, because my credit was crap at the time, to get me the money necessary to open a gym. I went with a company called Strength Camp. I don't want to talk about what happened with them because that's another story in itself. But I went forward and I opened a gym, right, down the street from my house. I built the gym myself, okay? Essentially, I created the training myself. I literally, for over a year, I think almost 2 years, would go to work at night as a police officer, get off work, go home, change, go to the gym, open the gym, run the gym till the afternoon, go home, go to sleep, go back to the gym, open the gym for the evening, close the gym, and drive to work. And just ran myself into the ground trying to be a business owner. But anything you do as an entrepreneur, it doesn't come easy unless, someone just gives you an ass load of money to throw at it. You have to work for it, and you have to grind, and you have to suffer, right? And my entire life has been nothing but suffering. And I used to feel upset about that. I used to let it make me feel certain things with my mental health. I was the why me, God, why are you doing this to me? God, why am I meant to suffer? And I never realized that most likely it was at the time to build who I am, to build Coach Rob, to build mental toughness, mental resilience, to be able to overcome adversity and keep going no matter what. And I'm on a pretty big mission with what I'm trying to do, right? So I opened this gym, and due to, I would say, 60% mismanagement on my part, because I never was a business owner, I didn't know what I was doing, and I didn't really have the support system that I needed to be successful. Between the mismanagement of the gym and then COVID, I lost everything. When COVID hit, the city of Coconut Creek shut down my business for 3 months. I wasn't brave enough to fight law enforcement and open against their rules, laws, or regulations. I wish I would have. I wish I was brave enough to do that, but I didn't. I did try to survive during COVID with basically, I remember when COVID hit and I got shut down, I literally had my members come to my gym and grab whatever they want. So they could have grabbed, some of them grabbed benches, some of them grabbed kettlebells, some of them grabbed dumbbells, some of them grabbed barbells, some of them grabbed bumper plates. Like, I literally gave out all my equipment, and I just had them sign a form saying, hey, when COVID's over, you're going to be responsible for bringing this back. And that allowed me to keep some memberships intact as I was literally doing online training through Zoom, I think Monday, Wednesday, Fridays, doing online fitness classes to keep my members and community. Now, unfortunately, like most businesses or most people, and maybe you can relate to this, when COVID hit and we didn't know what was going on, for the fitness, health and fitness community, one of the first things to get canceled in people's lives was gym memberships. If you weren't allowed to go to a gym, it makes sense. You weren't going to pay for it, right? But as a business owner, that like really took a lot out of us, and that hurt. And I had to cut deals to try to keep people at lower payments. I had to assure my community that we would be open as soon as we could. I had to, come up with creative ways to, like I said, do the online training and keep people engaged. And some people just couldn't do it. They had to stay home with their kids. A lot of kids weren't in school. And so gym memberships were the first to go. And I lost probably half my client base during COVID, and then being shut down for 3 months, doing online Zoom calls with the city, pleading for them to open my business, to the point I was actually on the news, highlighted as a veteran-owned business, showing that I was able to keep my gym open, aired out, clean, antibacterialized, and maintained where it was safe for people. And it's very scary, frustrating, angry, evil thing to think that COVID hit and it was just a big misunderstanding, essentially, as far as wearing masks and keeping distance and taking the fucking jab, which I'm not going to get into all that stuff, the political aspect, whatever you feel about COVID. From a business owner's perspective, it was completely wrong, okay? And it was completely mishandled. So I lose everything, and that put me in this depression, right? And as I've said multiple times, I had the trauma from the military. I had the trauma from being a cop. I had the trauma from my childhood. I had now the trauma from losing a business. And then, I went and I was a cop again from 2024 for 4 months, right? And you're like, you only worked for 4 months? Yeah, I only worked for 4 months because the second day after someone unalived themselves, and I was responsible for taking the gun out of their hand, and I dealt over and over again with bad people, criminals, convicts, drug dealers, people trying to get over on society and not really being a productive member of society, not to mention the fact that the place I was at didn't want me there, treated me like shit, treated me like a child after I had already 16 years of law enforcement experience. Now, I did have some issues as far as memorizing Florida state law and learning some things that I needed to learn again as a police officer, and I was out of law enforcement for like 6 years before I went back in. So there was a learning curve there, but that's understandable. After that 4 months of the mental hell I went through, I knew that I couldn't do it anymore. It wasn't sustainable. I didn't want to run and gun. I didn't want to arrest people. I didn't want to deal with the shitheads of society, so to speak. So I had to move on, and I had to find a new purpose. And this is the meat of why we're doing this episode today. This is the reason why I'm talking to you guys right now on this day, today. So, Battlefitted, the brand, everything I'm trying to do as a personal development coach, as a mental health advocate, as someone that's trying to help people overcome their trauma, turn their pain into progress, which is the Battlefitted tagline, through my coaching, through this, the Battle Harder podcast, through keynote speaking, through the book that I'm writing, through the Battlefitted brand clothing, which, if you're on YouTube, this is one of my shirts, and, you can probably barely see it, but everything that is Coach Rob is now going into Battlefitted. It's new, okay? I have not coached that many clients yet. The clothing has been around for a long time, but I never put the effort in to attach it to something, and as something bigger than myself. And the keynote speaking, which I'm just starting, I gave a talk at a behavioral health conference. That talk is on the audio version of the Battle Harder podcast if you want to listen to it. A lot of people have given me really good reviews on that. A book I'm writing on mindset that talks about my story and what I'm doing to overcome my mental health issues and my trauma. And then telling everybody stories with an occasional story time from me, Coach Rob, or a personal story from me. But telling stories of people who overcame adversity, mental health professionals, coaches, all in an effort to help you be the best version of yourself. I've always had a service mindset, always. Always. It's weird that when you get called to help people, and something that I remember that has stuck with me for an insanely long time. When I was a child, I was gifted a Bible, but the Bible was like comic book, right? I'm a big comic book nerd. And if you wanted me to get me to read the Bible, that was the easiest way. And with this Bible came a bookmark, and the bookmark had my name on it, and it said Robert Wheeler, and it said supposedly my name, Robert, meant bright fame, right? So having this bookmark that I wish I still had, it said Robert Wheeler, bright fame, bright fame. And it said something to the effect of a good name is better to have than good riches or great riches or something. And seeing that supposedly my name meant bright fame, it stuck with me, right? Like I always had this thing, whether it's God, the universe, my soul, to be great, to do great things. And at the same time, every single thing I have in my life, from the house I'm in to the 2023 Mazda CX-5 that I drive, to my relationship with my kids, to my health, my mental, like everything, I've had to fight for everything. Nothing, and I mean nothing, from the time I joined the Navy to now has ever been given to me. I've fought so much struggle, pain, and adversity to the point that my wife, my family, they're like, why do I have to go through such hell? And now instead of saying, why me, I say, try me. Because all it's doing is building me a more resilient, a more powerful, a more stronger, a more braver person, right? A long time ago, a friend had said to me, he's like, I don't know what it is about you, but you just don't know when to give up. And a person that won't give up no matter what is a very scary, powerful, strong thing, right? And I teach you guys a lot, and I talk a lot about a setback or a failure is not a setback or a failure if you never give up, if you don't quit, if you keep going. You have to learn from that setback and that failure, and then ask yourself, was it really a failure, or was it meant to teach me something to be bigger, better, bolder, braver, right? And I say this because as I tell you that my business is new and I'm trying to be the number one veteran / former police officer in the mental health space, and I want to be the most well-known biographical author when it comes to mental health and mindset and overcoming adversity. And, I tell people that you have to have one BFG, big freaking goal, right? In the video game world and movies, they say BFG, big freaking gun. And usually the gun is this ginormous, overpowered thing, right? So you have to have a BFG, a big freaking goal. And my goal is to be the most well-known veteran when it comes to mindset, overcoming trauma, and turning pain into progress. And I will fight for that to the day I die, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to get there eventually. It may take 2 years, it may take 5 years, hell, it may take the rest of my life. But I tell you this because my business is new. So far, I've been in 4 business pitch competitions, right? And if you don't know what a business pitch competition, there's these things that exist that essentially is like being on Shark Tank. You have a PowerPoint presentation about your business. Usually you're on a time limit of how long you have to pitch, and you have to be able to communicate and relate what the need is for your business, why there's a need for your business, and what problem do you solve, right? Well, out of these 4 business pitch competitions, I haven't won one. Not one. Because here's the thing. During these competitions and these other companies and the other people I'm going up against, they all have some sort of technological business, some sort of I can make $1 million business, some sort of actual product, right, with their companies. All these technological people have been beating Coach Rob in these business pitch competitions. And I truly believe it's because, for whatever reason, and I don't understand this, society still wants to dance around mental health issues. Society still wants to dance around not talking about trauma. Society still wants to dance around about being a faceless, emotionless person when you're a veteran or a police officer or a firefighter or a paramedic. And that's bullshit. It's not right. And most recently, the whole reason for this episode, I was in a veteran nonprofit community where I had to devote 2 hours every Tuesday to listen about how to start a business in order to be able to pitch for a competition for a spot to win one of 8 spots to potentially pitch for $20K. And $20,000 is a lot of money. $20,000 could have helped Coach Rob really grow the Battle Fitted brand quickly and effectively, and gave me a much needed income to support my family, and gave me much needed push and hope, right? But they didn't pick me. I got an email today that said, sorry, you weren't picked. And I truly believe, because for us people that are in the service industry, especially if you're not a psychiatrist or a mental health provider that has a degree, we're not taken seriously. And I don't understand that, because here I am. I went through so much trauma in my life, right? Like I said, childhood trauma, military trauma, law enforcement trauma, lost my mom. She passed for like essentially no reason at all, out of the blue. So there's that trauma. And I was suicidal. There was multiple times where I had a gun in my hand and thought this was it, or thought about taking pills and ending my life. And I went to therapy and talked to therapists, and I took medication to try to feel better. And for me, none of that worked, because at the end of the day, most of the therapists weren't veterans. Most of the therapists did not go through trauma. Most of the therapists did not see people getting shot, or weren't physically abused, or weren't emotionally abused. No, they went to school and they got trained, right? And once again, I will say this till I'm blue in the face, I am not here to overtake the mental health industry. Therapies are good. Medicine works. Talking to therapists or a psychologist or a psychiatrist or a marriage counselor, if it helps you, great. And I think those are wonderful things that everybody should use if they need to. But they don't work for everybody. And I am the different option, okay? Because I've been there. I can take any trauma that you've been through, and I can relate that to my trauma. And I can understand and empathize exactly where you're coming from a personal perspective, not a medical perspective. Okay? I am working to get a coaching certification. They call it life coaching. I hate that term. I am not a life coach. I'm a personal development coach. I'm not an motivational speaker. I'm a speaker on discipline and consistency and resilience, because I learned all these things is what was necessary for me to overcome my trauma. So as I'm getting passed over by the Shark Tank, by the supposed business gurus, by the people of industry that they don't want to hear about mental health. They don't want to hear about trauma. Ooh, it's such a sore subject. We got to dance around this. No. You want to heal. You want to be better. You have to face the darkness head on. You have to get in the middle of the tornado, in the eye of the storm where it's calmest, and say, you cannot beat me. You will not defeat me. We have to do better. We have to be better. It's not okay to not speak about mental health issues. It's not okay to push our feelings, our emotions, our problems, our issues down deep inside until they explode, and you take that out on your family and your kids and your coworkers. And I'm tired of it. I am tired of it. And I'm here to tell you right now, regardless if one pitch competition says your business isn't viable, it's not real, it's not relatable, to a million, to anybody on the internet, to anybody on social media, I say I don't give a flying F. I will not be beaten. I will advocate for mental health. I will help veterans and first responders heal. I will create programs in police departments and in the military to help people take back their emotional health through fitness, through mindset, through discipline. And I will be a beacon of hope for those that are hopeless. This constant stigma. You know, last month was Mental Health Awareness Month. This month is PTSD, damn, I can't even speak. PTSD Awareness Month. It shouldn't be 1 month. It should be your entire life. Our mental, emotional, and physical health all goes together. And anybody can heal, one, if they want to do the work, and two, if they find what works for them. So instead of being scared that, oh, I'm going to judge or submit Coach Rob as a winner for a pitch competition because I'm actually trying to help people, and I'm trying to break down barriers in the mental health industry, is so much more relatable to today's society because we all have trauma, we all have issues, we all have problems we face. And no one's giving you the tools on how to overcome said issues. Now, once again, not everything I practice, that I preach, will work for everybody. But I guarantee for a majority, for a high, probably 70, 80%, hell, maybe even 90%, my theories, my practices, my studies, they work. And they're backed in science, and they're backed in freaking common sense. We have to make mental health issues and trauma not some freaking classified thing we don't speak about. When veterans get out of the military, they're essentially given nothing, okay? When people go into the military, there's not, you get classes, so, you know, and I don't know if this has changed because I went into boot camp in 1997. But when I went into boot camp, I literally had a class on how to brush my flippin' teeth, how to wash myself, how to bathe, right? Hygiene. But there's no class on how to deal with a buddy dying or a buddy committing suicide, or how to feel good about yourself, or who to talk to if you have certain issues, or who to talk to if you feel a certain kind of way, if you don't feel like yourself. And the same thing could be said when we get out. When a veteran gets out of the military, no matter what branch, they lose their identity overnight, and nobody's talking about this. This trauma, this lack of service, this lack of support. We serve our country. Me, it was 10 years. Then I decided to go serve my community as a police officer for almost 17 years total. And you know what I got for it? Absolutely nothing. I mean, technically, I got Coach Rob, and I got the Battle-Fitted brand, and I got my big goal of helping heal the world and having a service mindset and helping people and having the difficult conversations so people can feel better and be better and become the best version of themselves. But I didn't get shit when I got out of the military. I didn't get shit when I decided to quit being a cop. And a lot of people don't know how to figure that out. And a lot of people lose their way. And I'm your light in the darkness. I'm here to help those that are hopeless. I'm here to get people back on track that are lost. So if you're a business investor and you're listening to this, or you're a pitch competition judge and you're listening to this, or you're anybody that doesn't think that what I'm doing is real or realistic or scalable or profitable, you just wait and watch. Because Coach Rob's got a lot of living to do, and I got a lot of people to help, and I'm going to make a damn good living doing it. So I want you to realize that service industries are important, okay? Whether it's a not-for-profit, a for-profit, a business like mine, where I charge veterans and first responders to coach them, but they do get a 30% hefty discount with me. When I speak and tell my story and my truth, when I talk about all the shit that I went through and how I came out on the other side, that's important. And I want you to know this, right? If you're in a similar situation like me, and you're at this point where you understand business is hard, no matter what you do, owning your own business is hard, but no one's going to understand the business more than you, right? No one's going to understand your business, how it makes you feel, more than you. No one's going to understand what it does as far as making you feel inside, whether it's emotional distress or joy or hope. And you're going to have a combination of all these different emotions when you run a business. It's not easy, right? Entrepreneurship is not for everybody. But for the few that take that risk, that leap, no matter how many no's you receive in society, no matter people hands you try to shake and they deny you, no matter how many bigwigs, corporations, departments, no matter what you're trying to do to grow your brand, don't give up. Don't lose hope. Don't quit. Because there's that saying that out of a million no's, it only takes one yes. And the no's at this point, the negativity at this point, the who the hell does he think he is at this point? Because I'm not a psychiatrist or a psychologist or mental health professional, but I've been through trauma so I can recognize trauma. I've been through suicidal thoughts so I can recognize suicide ideations. I've been in the military so I can recognize another veteran. I've been a police officer so I can recognize another first responder. I can recognize the emotional deregulation we have when we get off of work and we can't go through that threshold and be a normal husband or wife or father or partner or whatever. My experiences qualify me for who I am and what I do. And if that doesn't help being a 10-year Navy vet, a 17-year police officer, a strength and conditioning coach, a father of 3 kids, a divorcee, a communications major, and soon a certified coach, then I don't know what in this world qualifies anybody to do anything. So don't let anybody tell you differently if you believe in something and you believe in yourself. And until the day I die, I will be fighting for mental health advocacy, and getting better support and better systems in place so our warriors can heal. Because you weren't left behind by Coach Rob. And I'm not leaving anybody behind. I will take literally anybody with me that I can. You have to be ready to change your life by accepting what's going on in your life is not right. And then you have to be able to work with purpose and intent. Because at the end of the day, if you work with Coach Rob and you don't have intent and you don't want to do the work and you don't want to listen to what I say, you're not going to heal. And lastly, remember, everything that you do that is worth doing, it takes time. You can't heal overnight. My trauma didn't go away. Okay? It's still there. I still have bad days. But I'm not going to let the negativity, I'm not going to let the naysayers, I'm not going to let the general public defeat me, who I am, what I believe in, and what I fight for. And I would hope that in your life, the same is ideally equal to you as well. I hope this brief episode gave you some brevity, some clarity. I hope it didn't sound more like a rant. While I am upset that I didn't get in the position to pitch for $20,000, I am not giving up on Battlefitted. I am not giving up on the Battlefitted brand. Everything I do is to give you power, to turn your pain into progress. So remember that. And if my message resonated with you and you need help and you'd like Coach Rob to work with you, you can always go to battlefittedbrand.com and you can book a free consultation. It doesn't cost you a dime, just costs you time to speak with me and let me hear what you're dealing with and what you're going through so I can see if I'm a good fit to help you. Go out there and keep fighting, and to remember to always be fit for battle. Peace.
You've just heard another battle-tested conversation. Now it's time to take action. If this episode lit a fire in you, subscribe on Spotify, Apple, iHeart, or YouTube so you never miss a moment that could change your life. Want to go deeper? Connect with Coach Rob at BattleFittedBrand.com for coaching, gear, and tools to help you turn your pain into progress. Remember, life will test you, but you're built to battle harder. Until next time, stay locked in, stay ready, and keep showing up.